Everyone, it's approximately 5 p.m. on Tuesday, October 10th, 2017, and I'd like to call to order a public hearing regarding a dangerous property condition at 2044 North Bend Road. Mr. Burning, may we have a roll call?
Yes, Ms. McFarland.
Present.
Mr. Honolaw.
Present.
Mr. Burning.
Present.
All the trustees are present.
I would like to also note that Laura Abrams, our legal advisor, Chris Gilbert, our Development Services Director, and Fire Chief Rob Leineghan are also in attendance. I will also note for the record that despite proper notices being sent, no one is here to represent the property owner in this hearing. Ms. Abrams, would you please recount the facts and procedural posture of this case?
Certainly. This case began on February 17th of 17, where the fire chief went out and inspected the property at 2044 North Bend Road, found that property in the state that it was unsafe, uninhabitable, unsecured, and should, in his opinion, should be condemned. At that point, a title search was initiated and received on February 27th of 17, so that we could determine the appropriate parties to notify of our actions. The board then declared by resolution the property to be dangerous on September 12th of 17. We also sent out a certified letter to the lien holders of record with the attaching the resolution to the letter. That was sent out on 9/18 of 2017. The property was posted with the resolution on that same day, 9/18 of 17. We then ran a legal ad in the Hilltop Community Press detailing the date of the hearing. That was done on 9/27 of 17, and then we have the hearing date today, which is 10/10.
Thank you, Laura. Chief Leininger, could you please describe the current condition of the property and if any steps have been taken to repair or remove the dangerous property condition or otherwise render the property safe, secure, or habitable?
Yes, sir. As Ms. Abrams indicated, I initially visited the property in February. I revisited the property today, and it is in the same condition that it was back in February. It is continuing to decline. It is in extreme state of decay. The property is in an extreme rot. The structural integrity of the building is really my number one concern. Just making observations through the windows, you can see where the floor joists holding the second floor, some of the roof joists have actually just rotted through and are just hanging very vicariously just after they have just deteriorated with rot and exposure to the weather elements. The property is not secure. There are numerous windows that are broken, and there is a door standing wide open at the rear right side of the property. So in my estimation, there has been absolutely no effort whatsoever to improve the condition of this property.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Gilbert, is there anything you'd like to add and to provide us, the board, with anything additional about this property?
Just that we've had a long history with this property dating back to 2012 when we initially looked at the property, and at the time we were reviewing other dangerous properties in addition to the one before you this evening. At the time, that property, or the one that we're reviewing tonight, wasn't as bad a condition as some of the others, therefore was not acted upon at that time. And since then, the property has continued to deteriorate to the state it's in today, and it now meets what we feel meets the criteria to be declared unsafe or structurally defective and raised as recommended by Chief Leininger.
Thank you, Chris. Ms. Abrams, do you have any additional information you'd like to provide to the board?
I would just like the record to reflect that I passed out the pictures that the chief took today of the property. It gives you the best view of the current condition. In pictures represents everything he said. It is definitely a danger and structurally defective, but I just wanted the record to reflect the board has those pictures in front of them.
Thank you, Laura. As there's no further information to be presented to the board can deliberate.
The only thing I would say is based on these pictures, obviously the house is beyond repair. It's completely falling apart. It's rotten. You can see the box gutters are caving off the property. It's, the siding's off. I'm sure the roof is caved in. As you said, Chief, it's caved in. It's obviously in tear-down condition.
Yes, sir. Yes. I concur.
So from my perspective, it definitely is of danger, to the community as well. And based on the fact that we have sent proper notices out to everyone, I would like to make an immediate motion to immediately remove it. And I move that the board determine that the property located at 2044 North Bend Road be declared a dangerous property because it's insecure, unsafe, and actually structurally defective as well. And that the board authorize our township personnel to immediately enforce the previously enacted resolution and remove the dangerous property conditions after giving the property owner 30 days written notice of this intended removal demolition of the structure that's located on this property.
I second that motion.
If this motion is adopted, the owner will be required to enter into a written agreement.
Not on this one. Not on this motion, they won't need to.
Huh?
This motion, they don't need to enter, and
Oh, okay, only if number 2.
if we had a different motion, they would.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Just by mention of procedure, what will happen next is we will finalize the bidding for the demolition contractors for this property. We will then present the Board of Trustees with a resolution, most likely at our October work session, indicating which contractor has been chosen to perform the demolition. And then at that point, the notification will be made to the property owner, and the 30-day time frame will start from there.
Thank you, Chris. Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's closed.
With that, the public hearing for 2044 North Bend Road is now closed. The regular trustee meeting will begin at 5:30. Thank you. October the 10th, 2017, at approximately 5:30 p.m. Mr. Burning, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Ms. McFarland?
Present.
Mr. Honolaw?
Present.
Mr. Burning?
Present.
All the trustees are present.
If everyone could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a special presentation this evening. This is in recognition of the St. Xavier High School Aqua Bombers in their recent national championship title. I'd like to invite Coach Bierman, Nick Sikotovas, and Nick Pfeiffer to the floor, please. If you guys will come up.
Come down to attack you.
The top swimming publication for half a century annually ranks the fastest performances in high school swimming using a top 16 scoring system for 11 scholastic events. St. Xavier's swimming and diving team finished with 140 points, earning its newest title of National Champions by Swimming World magazine for the 2016-17 season. Earlier this summer, the Aqua Bombers earned the National Interscholastic Swimming Coaches Association Dual Meet PowerPoint National title. It is the program's 4th Swimming World victory and 9th NISCA triumph. Facing some of the best competition in the country on a regular basis, the Aqua Bombers will be able to achieve an undefeated season in dual invitational league and state events with a record-setting 38th OHSAA Division I state championships. Tonight, we congratulate the entire St. Xavier swimming and diving team and present Coach Tim Bierman with the Hometown Proud Certificate of Achievement.
Well, it's an honor to be a part of St. Xavier Swimming and Diving. The three of us represent a much larger group, about 100 strong, plus alumni and parents, and it's an honor to receive this recognition, from Springfield Township for our achievements, as well as for all that St. Xavier Athletics does and brings to the area.
Not the easiest job, I'm sure, being a swim coach at St. Anne's.
It's a little bigger than everyone thinks.
Congratulations, Corey. Congratulations, Tim.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Burning, would you like to show them the sign that we are going to present? Which will actually
We have one more.
hang in the township. They don't get to keep that. That one will actually hang.
That's actually.
That gives the story.
That's going to be great.
I think that represents the fact that a lot of the teams have not been recognized over, you've done 38, so we're, rather than hang a sign every year, we're trying to catch a few of the ones that had not been recognized previously.
On behalf of the school, we're quite appreciative of this. We're appreciative of everything you all do.
We'll put this, Mike, the location, I think we said at North Bend and
Near North Bend and Caldwell, and then I went to North Bend.
as you make the approach from either direction on North Bend.
That'll be great.
Fantastic.
This is great.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
You all just speak one more time. Does everybody get
In here.
Nick, good seeing you. Next.
Yeah, this one will catch a few eyes, I think. Okay. Should I have to vote?
Maybe you had a song prepared.
I want me to.
We won't help you.
Yeah, they're going to text this to all their new teammates. So it's really cool. It's really cool. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Nick, seeing you guys.
Mike and Nick, great accomplishment. Proud of you.
All right. I think it's hilarious.
I can't see it. Okay.
Next on the agenda, I'd like to call to order the public hearing regarding the township's Community Development Block Grant application process for fiscal year 2018, 2019, and 2020. This is the first of two scheduled public hearings and is being held to gain input from the public and staff regarding possible projects that the township could seek funding for through the CDBG program. Mr. Gilbert, would you please tell us more about the grant application and possible projects, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Burning. As indicated, this is the first of two required public hearings in the CDBG process. For consideration this evening, staff is recommending various projects to make application for through the block grant process. The first of which is the continuation of funding for West College Hill Community Neighborhood Services. That is funding that has been requested to the block grant process through the township for many years, as you're well aware. Secondarily, the next application would be street resurfacing for DeSoto Drive in the Glencoe subdivision. And as indicated, previously in other conversations regarding the block grant program, as the board is aware, this funding is only eligible to be utilized in certain neighborhoods in the township that are block grant eligible. And that's income dependent, and that's a federal program that's administered here locally. These are federal dollars, HUD dollars that are being used here locally and administered through Hamilton County. But again, we are restricted in terms of where we can utilize these funds. There's roughly 3 or 4 areas in the township where we're eligible to use them, and Glencoe subdivision is one of which, and therefore that's why we're asking for a street resurfacing project for that main drive that goes into the Glencoe subdivision. The third project we would be seeking funding for is a playground equipment replacement at the Lexington Heights Park off of Meredith Drive. Additionally, we will seek funding. Again, there's a good chance that all of these projects will not be funded. However, we will ask for those and prioritize them accordingly. The fourth project we'd be seeking funding for is a part-time targeted code enforcement program where we would hire a part-time code enforcement officer to be very proactive in code enforcement in these block grant eligible neighborhoods. And then lastly, we would look at an additional street resurfacing project in the Seven Hills neighborhood, which would be, I believe is it Roosevelt Drive between Hamilton Avenue and Spruce Hill would be another area that we would be looking at. These road resurfacing projects are fairly small, in the neighborhood of $100,000 to $200,000, and the reason being is because of the funding available through the block grant process. These projects have to be in fairly small increments in order to be considered for funding. So those are the projects we're looking at right now, and this hearing tonight is to allow the public to comment on those proposed projects, propose any additional projects, and at our next public hearing, which will be at our November meeting, we will solidify those applications and then prioritize them and allow staff to then make those applications to the county through that process. So,
Thank you, Chris.
Chris, what was that sixth, I may interrupt, what was that sixth thing you said? Was that road resurfacing in Seven Hills?
Yes, it'd be
Okay.
on Roosevelt Drive between Hamilton Avenue and Spruce Hill.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in attendance who has questions or comments about the Community Development Block Grant application? Okay, if there's no further comments regarding the Community Development Block Grant application, I'll entertain a motion to close the CDBG public hearing portion of our meeting.
So moved.
Second it?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting's closed.
Next on the agenda, we have the approval of minutes from the regular meeting on September 12, 2017, the regular work session on September 26, 2017, and the special meeting bid opening on October 4, 2017. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye. Next on our agenda this evening, Mr. Burning, do you have a fiscal report for us?
Yes, I do, Mr. Burning. For the month ending September 30th, 2017, the township expenditures were $1,646,970.34, and the receipts were $5,952,333.45. The ending cash balance of $22,162,482.51 includes obligations to expenditures, payroll, regular operating costs, ongoing capital improvement projects, and investments. I do request a motion to approve receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, updated and current revenue and reports for the period ending September 30th, 2017. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And I just want everyone to know that all the financial reports are available for viewing at the administrative offices during regular business hours or on our website at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burning. Next, moving on to the departmental action and discussion items. Mr. Hinnenkamp, do you have a report?
I do, Mr. Burning, a short one, just a couple of action items. The first is to set our date and time for the observance of Halloween, and the recommendation would be that we keep it as we always do and actually have that be on Tuesday the 31st, and the times from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
I'll make a motion to adopt that.
And I second it? And that stands no matter what the weather is.
That's right.
I
All
think
those
that's
in fa-
important to clarify that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item I have is seeking the board's authorization to enter into an agreement with Duke Energy. This would be for the installation of two lights actually on the property at Hillside Park along Caldwell. We've had some requests to install these lights in that particular area due to some crime, and as I think Chief would attest, and as we see, it is a very, very dark area, and we have had incidents in the past, so that is our recommendation to move forward with this agreement.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Chief, do we know where we're going to put those lights? I mean, is it in an area that you've already designated would be the best location for them?
Yes, actually, Mr. Gould and I both looked at that, and we're hoping it should light the entire area that's in question, so.
Okay. As you're going down the hill? And call,
As you see the park.
Yes.
It will light the park
that'd be good.
Yeah, it's the parking lot.
and the lot, yes,
The lot is where we've had
That
some
little
issues.
gazebo they have or whatever?
right.
That'd be great.
The last action item, I actually don't have an action item, but we were hoping to, we're thinking that we would ask the board to approve the Streetscape Energy Conservation Program bid. We did receive the bids. We received two bids. Only one of the bids is responsive to our request, and it is our intention in all likelihood to award that, but we are recommended that we hold off at this point. We do have another bid on a similar, kind of the same program on the energy savings program that involves our internal buildings here. That's going to be on the 17th, Chris. So at this point, we would prefer to wait, get both bids in, even though this one's for something totally different, and have the board award them together, since probably how we finance some of these will be in combination, so I think it makes sense to do those both together at our work session in October. So nothing to take action on at this point tonight. And then I did want to mention, as Mike made me aware today, we've completed the Hempstead paving, repaving program. That is actually complete today. There's some punch list items that'll still need to be completed and some striping. But, I think in large part to the management of this project by Mike and his staff, this particular project is coming in about 2 months ahead of schedule and about $60,000 under budget.
Oh, that's a good thing.
If the board remembers, this was a joint project with Hamilton County Engineer. The county engineers run into some difficulties on Daly, so that portion of the project is not getting done, but I think had Mike not been diligent, had not been on top of things very, very early, we might be, being dragged down by that aspect of some of the complexities they've run into. So the good news is the township piece, as I mentioned, is complete today with, minus just a few punch list items. So important project,
And it's my understanding
complete.
that perhaps the rest of the portion on Daly will be finished in the spring of next year. Is that what?
I believe that's what,
So that individuals that may be asking, okay, we thought you were finished, but you still have this yet to do. So then we can just make them aware that it will be, the final project will be completed on Daly in the spring.
The current project schedule indicates that, yes, Daly will be done in the spring.
Okay.
We also, at our board meeting last month, talked about a request that was submitted regarding requesting that the township adopt some regulations with respect to tethering of dogs. I know Laura's still looking at that, and we do anticipate that we'll have something for the board at our next meeting in November. One of the questions is there's two other resolutions that we currently have, one dealing with barking dogs, one dealing with vicious dogs, and the question really becomes, do we want to wrap this tethering, maybe rescind those other two and do one resolution, or do we want to do this as separate and have three? So I think that's part of it, but Laura, you want to talk about anything else?
Well, there's
relative to that?
actually, oddly enough, there's pending some bills in the House and the Senate dealing with the whole dog issue again. So those changes are actually quite good. They're making a comprehensive change to make it make some sense for the first time, I think. So I wanted to see how those went a little bit before we jumped in. There are some issues with what we want to do with what those are proposing as well. So we don't want to be in a situation where we're creating our resolution and then have to change it because something passes at the State House. So we're going to meet with Rob and we're going to, Chief Brown, and we're going to go over what we need to do, what's working, what's not. While we get a chance to look at it, we might as well look at it comprehensively and come up with something that works on all three categories.
Are there also animal cruelty laws that come into play here, or?
There's criminal statutes on animal cruelty. Tethering in and of itself, it doesn't qualify for that. You've seen extreme cases where dogs are leashed and the collars go into those hit the animal cruelty range. The ones this would deal with is extreme weather, extreme periods of time. Right now, you have to have water, but you don't necessarily have to have food out present all the time. So there are some lapses in what's out there right now.
Thanks, Laura.
More to come on that, hopefully either next month or by the end of the year. We'll see what happens with the pending legislation. The only other thing I have is personnel update. And for the past month, did add 2 new hires in our fire department. Samuel Kemper is a part-time EMT firefighter, effective date of September 28th. And then also James Riley, also a part-time EMT firefighter, same starting date of September 28th. Did accept the resignation of Elliot Holmes, who was a full-time police officer. Certainly sorry to see Elliot go. His effective date was September 21st, 2017. He had an offer to go with the U.S. Secret Service. So great offer. We understand it's something that he wanted to pursue, and hate to lose him, but good opportunity for Elliot. So that is all I have. Kim, if you would bring the board up to date on community events and programs, please.
Thank you. I only have 2 events to announce. On October the 20th, Arts Connect is hosting its last theater performance for the year. It's The Hounds of Baskervilles. And on November the 10th and 11th is our annual local art show, which is at Centennial Barn.
What time are those events at the Centennial Barn?
The Centennial Barn on Friday is from 7 to 10 p.m. That's the wine tasting and the big art show, the auction, the live band. And then it's open in the gallery on the next day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's just general viewing, and I believe that we're also going to be bringing in some guest speakers.
Oh, that'd be great.
And what was the date, Kim?
10th and 11th of November.
November 10th and 11th.
Thank you, Kim. We do have some resolutions this evening. The first one is Resolution Number 90-2017, a resolution authorizing Mark Burning, Chairman of the Board of Springfield Township Trustees, to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs, and to execute contracts as required. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolaw?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Mr. Burning, I would just mention, I meant to mention this earlier, but you're going to read these resolutions, and they're going to sound like they're
I
all
know.
exactly the
They're
same.
all-
Because they are.
They are.
aware.
The title, we're submitting 5 skip applications. So essentially, the title of each of these is exactly the same. However, in the body of each one of these resolutions, it's referring to a different project. The first one that we did is for Brentwood Heights. The second is for the Glen Forest the Glen Forest project. Brentwood Village is the third. The fourth is the Ridgevale. And the final one is the Burlington Meadows resurfacing project. So just didn't want folks in the audience to think you're stuttering 5 times.
Repeating the same resolution again and again.
Again and again and again.
The next resolution is number 91-2017, a resolution authorizing Mark Burning, Chairman of the Board of Springfield Township Trustees, to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs, and to execute contracts as required. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Seconded.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Resolution number 92-2017, a resolution authorizing Mark Burning, Chairman of the Board of Springfield Township Trustees, to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs, and to execute contracts as required. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Seconded.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 93-2017, a resolution authorizing Mark Burning, Chairman of the Board of Springfield Township Trustees, to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs, and to execute contracts as required. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 94-2017, a resolution authorizing Mark Burning, Chairman of the Board of Springfield Township Trustees, to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs, and to execute contracts as required. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next on our agenda is old business. Do we have any old business?
I have no old business.
I just want to say that we had a fine day this past weekend on Saturday with the open house for the fire department. I know there were so many children there, and they were firefighters, and it was just so exciting. I think we had a larger capacity this year than we have in the past. Is that right?
I believe
Chief
so.
Bryan,
And
is
we
there-
estimated we had close to probably 1,200 participants that came in throughout the day. It was steady. There were probably at least 250 there every hour that just,
It's amazing how crowded it stayed throughout the day. Of course, it was a beautiful day, too.
well, when Mother Nature cooperates, it's a good thing.
Makes it a lot easier.
It sure does, yeah. But everybody had a good time. We fulfilled our mission of educating people and making sure that they, had an opportunity to see the firehouse and see the equipment, interact with firefighters, and also learn about fire safety. So we had a wonderful day. Really enjoyed meeting everybody and having.
The one part that I really liked was teaching the small children how to do CPR. And they came away saying, we're learning how to save lives. And the way that your firefighters were training them, they actually had their hands right, in the right position. They were really working it.
I tried to find something for everyone,
Yes, you did.
regardless of how young or how old. Fire safety and also accident avoidance and learning to call 911 and do CPR. It affects all of us, so
Your whole team did a great job.
thank you. I will relay that to
They certainly did. Air Care was a big hit. The schedules permitted them to come this year, and Rob, we enjoyed seeing you out there with your apron and
Yeah. And even though.
teaching all the kids about fire safety in the kitchen. Yeah. It's good.
Thanks, Rob. Do we have any new business?
The only thing I was going to bring up under new business is we always see our senior community center activity reports. And you know what? I want to thank Tom Snyder and everybody in the township that makes it possible for us to run the senior center and the Grove, and to do so without costing taxpayer dollars. I'm looking here that in September of 17, these are preliminary numbers, but we collected $22,359. In September 16, it was $35,000. on the 8-year average back there, it's been, for September, $20,287 a month. And likewise, August had similar numbers. And so it's something where we took something and really developed it into a community asset. It's making money. The Grove just received I don't know the name, but there was a special award for wedding venues, and I believe we just received an award for that. It's a popular place for people to rent it out for wedding receptions and things like that. And so I know Tom's manning the cameras, so I just want to say thanks for all his hard work, and I know it's a lot of work to set that thing up, tear it down, get ready for the next event. And Mike, I know there's times when your guys are involved in that too, and I'm sure I'm leaving people out, but just want to say thanks. That's the kind of extra value that we bring to the citizens of Springfield Township.
And that's the kind of value we want to keep in Springfield Township. When you look at the fact that not only in Springfield Township, but across the county and the state, our aging population is continuing to age, and still they do not want to be called seniors. They love to participate in activities. They come up there and they play all kinds of cards, and they go on trips together, and it's just a really neat system and a resource for our seniors as well in the township.
Do you have any new business, Gwen?
I just want to remind everyone that November the 7th is Election Day, and when you go to the polls, I'm encouraging everyone to go to the polls, and when you do go, you'll see issue 23, and issue 23 is the Springfield Township Fire Department levy, and it's number 23. Remember this, it's a renewal of the existing one meal levy for Springfield Township so that we can continue to provide outstanding services for another 5 years. If we can't renew it, then we'd have to reduce a lot of the great things that we do and offer our community. And the most important part, in fact, is it will not raise your taxes. So just asking everyone, just remind you when you go to the polls, remember issue 23, and the fact that it's not a new tax and it will not raise your taxes. Thank you.
So renew the fire levy.
Yes.
Yep.
Next is our citizens' participation. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to address the board? If so, I'd ask you to come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Appears so.
Robin Hendley, 6341 Ridgefield Drive. I just have two items, just a reminder. This Sunday, October 15th at 7 to 9 p.m. is Meet the Candidates Night. Be held back at the Senior Community Center, so it is always, as always, it's open to the public. You do not need to have to be a member to attend. As far as I know at this point, all the invitees have accepted. So because of the full slate we've got local, it's pretty much what's going to be on the township ballot for germane to us. School board candidates, the trustee race, and then we'll focus on the issues. The chief has agreed to come in and speak briefly to give an overview of the renewal for the fire levy. We do have Rita coming in from the board or League of Women Voters. She'll have the table set up and we'll speak very briefly on the issues. The bulk of her focus will be on issue 1 and issue 2 because those seem to be the most complicated ones for people to understand. She's got a pretty tight format, so she's going to have to be moving along. She'll also cover briefly the 3 county issues, and our time frame this year is very tight. So just to warn anyone in advance, if you're going to be attending, timekeeping will be kept to the second. So if you're in mid-sentence with your mouth open and the card goes stop, you just stop. That's it. Because you don't get an inch. We just don't have the time because we want to get everybody out by 9 o'clock. I did find out something today. I talked to Deb at the Board of Elections. Because of the complexity of the 2 issues, anyone that's interested, if you go to the Board of Elections main website, when you get to their webpage, pull down on the Elections tab, and then go down about 3 spaces, drill down, and it'll have a line there that addresses the videos. And there's pretty extensive videos for both issue 1 and issue 2. It goes into the language, how it evolved, pros and cons, everything that's in the printed. So I wanted to share that. That might be a way for people to have a little bit better understanding exactly what they're voting for. She made a comment that they're hoping every year to be able to have a video on every issue that people would see on the ballot. They're just not there yet. They're focusing on the statewides. The only other thing I've got here is we just got our new brochures from the Civic Association. If any of you are interested, I'll give you those after the meeting. You can have one. Joe Gorman worked really hard with a friend of his to update it, and I think they did a really nice job. So you're welcome to have one of those if you'd like. Putting on my other hat, when I came here tonight, I drove down Hempstead, and it looks good. Hopefully, they won't have a rip down the middle of their street like I got one down on mine, but that's okay. I did notice something else that's bothered me, and I wanted to know if the board could maybe take a look at dealing with it. There's a growing amount of people that, regardless of the size of their driveways and regardless of the width of their street, they want to park in the grass, and it looks like crap. So I've got it going on in my own neighborhood, and I keep calling and saying, you got a driveway, you have a garage, we have a street, you're not supposed to park in the grass. On a real hot day when we haven't had any rain in a couple of weeks, sooner or later, somebody's going to have a low muffler and we're going to have a fire. I've seen it happen. And the problem is in South Finneytown where I live, those houses are close together. If one goes up, the two next beside it are probably going to catch two. So I don't know if there's anything you can do. The police department's been responsive, but all they can do is pull up and say, you need to move your car, but they really can't do anything. As I understand it, you can't give them a ticket or anything like that as it stands now. As a matter of fact, when I was driving here, I came down Hempstead, and if you want the address, I'll give it to you, but you got one of your main offenders on Hempstead parking right there on the right-of-way between the two trees, right on top of your brand-new curb, on the grass and the sidewalk. I saw it when I was coming down. But I'd like to have you just take a look at it, see if there's something that you can do to resolve it. People don't need to be parking in the grass. They need to be parking in their driveways or on the street. So that's all I've got.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Robin.
You know, I will say on Hempstead, when we had a prior plan that we were trying to get approved, and Mike, you might fill in more of the details, we wanted to widen that road so there could be on-street parking, and the residents were against it. Remember that?
That's correct. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And I will look into the situation with the parked car in the grass. There was posted no parking up and down Hempstead with the paving project being completed today. So it is a possibility that that person moved into the grass because they were out of room in their driveway. But I'll investigate it and we'll take action.
But it sounds like what she said is they probably pulled over all of the new work that's been done. Drove over.
They drove right up over the brand new.
Right.
You can see the tire marks, and I know that pavement's looking down today, and they drove all the way from their yard and turned around so they could park this way. And there's no need for it, because when I went by, there's at least room for 4 or 5 cars within a reasonable distance from the front of the house. Plus, they had an empty driveway.
Huh.
Nothing was in it.
So we don't have anything they can do if you park in your grass?
So, I mean, it's more of a zoning issue, but because once you hit the private property, then it limits our abilities to enforce.
Yeah, the Civic Association, we do snipe sign rides. We can go around and pull out snipe signs, hardly push a car. I mean, that's a little bit out of our ability.
I just wondered I didn't think there was, I just wondered.
Would anybody else like to address the board? Okay, if there's no further business before the board, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion's adjourned.